Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zakir Jacob. A Hindu man was stabbed in his leg for no fault of his except he happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. A group of SDPI folks took objection to someone who was hosting a Savarkar poster at the AA Circle in Shivamogga. The SDPI group wanted to put up a Tipu Sultan poster instead. Caught in this melee, a young man, Prem Singh, got stabbed. Now, irrespective of the debate of Savarkar's role in the freedom struggle, what he did, what he did not do, is this what it has come down to in our 75th year of independence? That people's lives are being put at risk because we cannot settle questions of history. But first, the story of what exactly happened in Shivamogga.
Shivamogga in Karnataka is tense. Communal clashes broke out over banners featuring RSS ideologue Veer Savarkar and 18th century ruler Tipu Sultan. One person was stabbed in these clashes, after which prohibitory orders were issued.
Section 144 is in place in the Shivamogga, and right now I am showing you the pictures from the Gandhi Bazaar, just from 500 meters away from here.
Things flared up after a banner featuring Savarkar was put up as part of Independence Day celebrations. A group of Muslim youth objected, removed the banner and tried to install a Tipu Sultan banner at the same spot. This eventually resulted in a clash between both groups, and police ended up lathi charging the mob to try and control the situation.
ಯಾರೇ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಕಠಿಣ ಕ್ರಮ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಆದೇಶ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೆಚ್ಚುವರಿ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಶಾಂತಿ ನೆಲೆಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
But the opposition in Karnataka is alleging a conspiracy.
ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ನಮ್ಮದು ತಕರಾರಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ ಫೋಟೋಗಳು ಬಟ್ ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಏರಿಯಾಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು ಆಯಿತು ಅವ್ರು ಹಾಕೋದು ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತಾರೆ.
ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ವಾತಾವರಣದಿಂದ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದ್ವೇಷದ ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
After the face-off over the banners, one person who was not involved in the clashes was stabbed. His family alleges he was targeted for sporting a tilak on his forehead.
वो इसलिए आ रहा था, आते ही उसको उधर से टारगेट कर दिया. उसके ऊपर तिलक लगाया हुआ था. वो हिंदू के ऊपर टारगेट है.
Amidst the war of words and the accusations, the question is, who is stoking the fire in Shivamogga?
All right, who is stoking the fire in Shivamogga? Let me go across to our guests who are joining us. Mohan Vishwa, spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP. Bhavya Narasimhamurthy is the spokesperson of the Karnataka Congress. And we'll be joined by R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist as well. Let me start with Mr. Mohan Vishwa. You know, this Tipu versus Savarkar battle that seems to be playing out in Karnataka, in Shivamogga. Who is the real freedom fighter? It has led to the stabbing of this 20-year-old youth, Prem Singh, whose only fault was he was sporting a tilak. He was standing by at the wrong place at the wrong time. Question that's being asked is, at the end of the day, law and order is a state subject. It is under the state government's responsibility. What is the state government doing to ensure that there is peace and harmony in the state?
See, Zaka, the incident which has happened in Shimoga, the guy who has been stabbed, unfortunately, is totally an innocent person who was closing down his business and was going home. This is the pure work of an SDPI and PFI, you know, who have been motivated by radical elements such as Tipu Sultan himself, okay? So just in the sake of supporting Tipu Sultan, by taking his help, you know, they stabbed the guy in the name of independence when the entire India was celebrating 75 years of independence. And here, one important point to be noted here is, yes, we being a ruling party, we have taken series of actions against these culprits. Let it be from Bangalore anti-CAA protest, or KJLD, DJLD riot, or Hubballi riot, or in Shimoga Harsha murder case, if you take, we've given a lot of cases to NIA. See, the people should understand the importance of NIA. So in the case of Mr. Rudresh, who was been murdered in 2016 in Shivajinagar in Bangalore by the same SDPI and PFI Gunda,
Okay.
and the case has been handed over to NIA. Till now, for 6 years, not even a single person has been granted a bail. Okay, so this is the kind of investigation which is taking place for Hindu Karyakartas murder.
No, but Mr. Mohan Vishwa, the question, Mr. Vishwa, the question that's being asked by your own people from BJYM, from within other extended groups of the Sangh Parivar is, if Praveen Nattaru was killed and nothing could be done about it, if Harsha in Shivamogga was killed and there are videos of his attackers smoking and using cell phone inside the jail, and now Prem Singh has been badly stabbed, then what is your government doing about it? And this is not just Congress or opposition that's asking. Your own people are asking this.
Exactly, Zaka. We being a BJP, we have a democracy inside our own party. Unlike Congress, if the G23 member speaks, nobody there to listen. But we BJP Karyakartas are our blood. Without Karyakartas, we are nowhere. We listen to their critics. Agree. I do agree. Totally agree with you. In the case of Praveen Nettaru also, we accept the critics. And as a government, what we are supposed to do, we have done. In the case of Harsha also, the case has been handed over to NIA. Praveen Nettaru also, since the two states were involved, case has been handed over to NIA. Three people were arrested.
Let me ask Bhavya of the Congress party, is it not a fact, Bhavya, that this whole Savarkar versus Tipu was started when the Congress was in power in 2013 under the Siddaramaiah government? The Congress party was the one that promoted Tipu Sultan being included in celebrations for Independence Day. You are the one who started Tipu Jayanti. It was seen by large sections of Hindu society in Karnataka as anti-Hindu. Today, Mr. Siddaramaiah was asked a question about what happened in Shimoga, and he said, why were people trying to raise Savarkar poster in a Muslim area? Now, is this how it's going to be decided? That in certain areas, certain posters can be put up. In certain other areas, certain posters cannot be put up. I mean, it is still India only, no? This AA circle in Shimoga is still in Indian territory. You can put up any freedom fighters poster there.
I think this is a question of provocation. There is a complete failure of law and order situation in Karnataka. If you see, this is not the first incidence of violence, communal violence in Karnataka. Recently, in the past couple of months, there have been a lot of incidents where Muslim youths and Hindu youths have been losing their lives for this violence. This breakdown of law and order situation. The reason for this is BJP and the ministers themselves give provocative statements. They're inciting communal violence. For example, Ishwarappa, who was a minister and was asked to resign over 40% commission issue, there was a FIR filed against him for inciting communal violence after one of the Bajrang Dal activists who was murdered, Harsha. His procession was taken to use it communally when there was section 144, and the minister, he was the one who was leading the procession.
No, ma'am, I'm asking you a simple question. Ma'am, if I may direct your attention to the question that I asked. What does your former Chief Minister, Mrs. Siddaramaiah, mean by saying, why were they trying to unfurl Savarkar banner or Savarkar poster in a Muslim area? Are we going to decide which poster can be unfurled in which area by depending on, where the majority of the people, which religion they belong to?
So first of all, when you speak about Savarkar, we all know what his contribution to the freedom struggle was and why his poster was even there on an Independence Day. He was someone who alleged his loyalty to the Britishers and who actually said they will not be supporting any of the freedom struggle. He was someone who wrote in his mercy petition saying, we won't be supporting the independence thing and we will be slave to you. That's what he had written. And how can you promote his flex during Independence Day?
Okay, Savarkar, who he was, what he stood for, what his role in the independence movement was, that's a different debate. I'm asking about what happened in Shimoga, where a young man is today battling for life after being stabbed because he had nothing to do with the putting up of the poster. And in any case, if somebody decided to put up a poster, have we got to a situation where people are getting stabbed for it? But anyway, R. Rajagopalan, I want to ask a very simple, I want to ask a very simple question. There is a feeling, ma'am, one second. Let me ask R. Rajagopalan. There seems to be a feeling, whether it was Harsha in Shimoga earlier this year in February, whether it was Praveen Nettaru a few weeks ago, and today this young man, Prem Singh in Shimoga again, that somehow the Bommai government is not able to protect Hindu workers, Hindu activists, people who are part of extended Hindu organizations, in a way that people are saying that we are helpless. This is our own government. What do we do about it? Is that perception fair, or is that perception, not true to reality?
My point is not to true reality. The reason being, Zaka, Congress is a divided house. Even now, when you ask the question, Congress spokesperson cannot answer properly. And, they are divided house not only through the, caste-wise, ideology-wise, personality-wise, and at the top level, three Gandhis are also divided. One Gandhi is supporting D.K. Shivkumar, one Gandhi is supporting Siddaramaiah, one Gandhi is supporting a Sidhu type of syndrome. This, as in the last debate also I described, who is Amarendra Singh, who is Sidhu, who is Channi. So this whole Congress has a big problem in Karnataka. You talked about protection, but the provocation came from Congress. So provocation is different, protection is different. At the same time, state government should have the law and order machinery. My understanding of the situation is Congress is instigating, Congress is provocating, Congress is intentionally provocating because they are a divided house.
Okay, no, ma'am, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you as and when, a question is directed to you. Now I'm going to B.S. Arun. B.S. Arun, well, I think Mohan Vishwa has a point in as much as the SDPI role was clearly seen, whether it was the DG Halli, KG Halli riots, whether it was, their role in the hijab stir, and today again, what happened in Shimoga, the SDPI hand seems to be clearly seen. And yet, somehow there is no conclusive answer as to why, A, this organization is being allowed to continue to flourish, and B, more importantly, what are law enforcement agencies doing about it to try and clamp down on what seems to be absolutely flagrant violations of the Indian Penal Code and the Indian Constitution? Why is this organization being given so much of a long rope?
Zaka, there is a history for this. Number one, let me come to today's, the latest development. The police have not yet said which organization is involved in this. So I think to jump to a conclusion that it's SDPI, I think maybe we are putting the horse before the cart too, urgently. I think we should wait for the police to do the investigation and conclude as to who is behind it, number one. Number two, as far as SDPI is concerned, the BJP had clearly stated earlier in the manifesto also that SDPI and the Campus Front of India, the PFI also, would be banned. But so far, 3 years after coming to power, I don't think they have done anything in this respect. Okay. So they must first tell as to why this has not been done. If they think that this organization is behind so many riots cases or violent incidents. So I think that this is upon the BJP government because they are already in power for so many years now, even before this. So it's up to them to give a clear, make their stand very clear on this.
Mr. Mohan Vishwa, it's a fair question to ask. I mean, there is, like you said, there is clear evidence of SDPI role in DG Halli, KG Halli riots, clear evidence of them instigating the girls in colleges in Mangaluru and Dakshin Kannada for the hijab protests. And now here, and may I correct B.S. Arun, the 4 people who have been arrested, the police in Shivamogga are saying they have prima facie SDPI links. Now, the question that I'm asking Mohan Vishwa is, if this organization seemingly is Hydra-headed, it seems to have its presence in all of these communal-related incidents in the state of Karnataka, then why is the Bombay government shying away from banning this organization? Mohan Vishwa.
Zaka, it's not only Bombay government. When you want to ban a political party, there should be an involvement of both state as well as center in consideration with Election Commission of India. So the MPs from our state have clearly written to the central government where we ourselves have a power to take care of the issue and to ban the government. And also, to ban the political party. To ban, there is a set of procedure which is going on behind. And also, see, if you ask me personally, banning may not be the long-term solution, because who are SDPI and PFI? They're nothing but the ex-members of SIMI, which was again a terrorist organization. So looking into that, our MPs and our ministers have clearly taken a stand to ban that. But what Congress is doing in the state, you take any incident for that matter, take GJL, KJL itself, who was behind it 3 odd? Mr. Sampath Raj, who was the next mayor in Bangalore, who was from Congress, he was the man behind it. And none of them, including Mr. Siddaramaiah, D.K. Shivkumar, none of them opened their mouth. They openly supported SDPI, PFI. And Mr. Zabir Ahmad Khan, who went to central jail when these culprits got released, he openly gives the cash to everybody. He welcomes these gundas on the red carpet. Come on, what kind of message they're giving?
Okay.
It's nothing but they're provocating openly. And you take an incident, a Hubli incident also. Who was behind that incident? Congress president only behind that incident.
No, so which may all well be the case, but the question that's being asked, Mr. Vishwa, is why aren't you taking action? Anyway, I want to go to Bhavya And this is what your Karnataka State Congress President, Mr. DK Shivkumar, said. If Savarkar, who came out of jail and wrote an apology letter to the British, became a freedom fighter, Tipu Sultan, who fought 4 Anglo-Mysore wars and died in the war as a hostage to the British, is he not a freedom fighter? This is something that DK Shivkumar has said. Now, I'm asking, you are saying, BJP is deliberately provoking, Who is provoking now, ma'am? Who is making this comparison between Tipu Sultan and Savarkar? It's not the BJP. I quoted DK Shivkumar.
Provocation and giving facts. We are giving facts, which is from the history. But provocation is something when you call for violence, and that is what BJP ministers are doing. Tipu Sultan died in Anglo-Mysore War 4 in 1799. It is a fact. Fighting against the British. Savarkar wrote a mercy petition. That is also a fact. Just
ma'am, you may not like his contributions to the independence movement, or you may restrict the contributions of independence movement to certain members of the freedom fight. But you cannot take away from the fact that ma'am, one second, one at a time. You cannot take away the fact that some people believe that Mr. Savarkar has an indelible contribution to the freedom movement.
Can you please repeat?
I said you may not view Savarkar as a patriot or as a freedom fighter, but that doesn't mean that you get to impose that view on everyone else. But there could be other people, a large number of people, who have a different viewpoint from you about Savarkar and his contribution to the freedom movement.
Sorry to say this, but history says that he alleged his loyalty to British, and he didn't want to do anything with the fight for independence after 1924 till 1947. He did not participate in anything.
Ma'am, that is contested. That is contested. Many historians subsequently have given a different interpretation of events, even including the letters, the so-called mercy appeals that he wrote from jail. But anyway, that's not the subject matter of today's debate, so I don't want to get diverted by that. I'm also getting another piece of breaking news. I want to request the guests to stay on. I'm getting a piece of breaking news. I want to go to them after this. Just hours after Karnataka Minister Madhuswamy, the law minister, remember an audio of his had gone viral, in which he's allegedly heard saying that the state government is not functioning and that the BJP is just managing things until the assembly elections next year. Now, after this audio clip went viral, Mr. Madhuswamy has now offered to resign. He claims that the audio is old, and he says that I will resign if the Chief Minister wants me to. Let's listen into what Madhuswamy said, and then I'll go across to my colleague Harish as well.
ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತೇಳ್ರಿ ತೆಗೆದು ಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಹೋಗ್ರಿಂದ ಸುಮ್ ಬತ್ತಿ ಊರಿಗೆ ಹೊಲ ಮನೆ ತೋಟ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನದು CM ಯಾಕ್ರಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದಿರಿ ಅಂದೆ ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋರಪ್ಪ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾಪ CM ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ದದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವ್ಯಾಕೆ ಉಟ್ಕೊಂಬೋದು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗದಾದ್ರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗದಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು 2 ಕ್ಷಣನೂ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ.
Let me go across to Harish, who's breaking that story for us. So you have Madhuswamy, the law minister, saying that I'm willing to resign if the Chief Minister asks me to. Is this damage control after this audio that leaked where he's purportedly heard saying that what can we do? We're just managing things till 2023?
Well, partly damage control, yes. He's saying if the Chief Minister and the party wants my resignation, and if they feel that makes it easy for both the government and the party, then I will resign. But if you hear the first bit of the reaction, he says, why is ST Somshekhar talking so much? All I said was that someone had called me, complained about this bank. I said, I've referred this to ST Somshekhar, nothing much has happened. Why is ST Somshekhar going on a verbal battle against me and making such comments? So clearly he's not looking at any sort of a truce with his fellow cabinet colleague ST Somshekhar, but definitely after the Chief Minister spoke to him, he said, I will resign if the party wants, and he says the Chief Minister hasn't sought a resignation or hasn't even seen this entire matter as a big development. He's just asked me for explanation, I've given it. So clearly Madhuswamy in a way sticking to his stance, especially on the aspect of ST Somshekhar not intervening and ensuring that the complaints by him are addressed, but on the aspect of embarrassing the Chief Minister and the government, perhaps he's looking at some sort of a compromise or at least backing down on that front.
Okay, Harish, stay on with us because we've got another piece of breaking news. And again, first it was an audio clip. Now there seems to be a video clip that has surfaced. Even as the Madhuswamy controversy is still simmering, another row seems to have hit the BJP in Karnataka. BJP backward classes leader and Minister B. Sriramalu there was a big embarrassing moment today. He's hinted in a video that's come out that there was some kind of a secret deal with Siddaramaiah in the Badami constituency in the 2018 elections. Remember, Siddaramaiah had contested from both these seats back in 2018. Shriramulu had claimed in this video that has come out that he and Siddaramaiah were good friends and have a personal understanding. Let's listen in to what he said in this speech, the video of which has supposedly gone viral.
ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರ್ತದೆ ನಮಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂದುಳಿದಂತ ಜಾತಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕನ್ನಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯರು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಒಡಕಾಗಬಾರದು ರಾಜಕಾರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಎದುರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ನೀವು ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ರಾಮ್ಲೂರು ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ ನಿಂತರು ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ ನಿಂತರು ರಾಮ್ಲೂರು ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಸೋತೋದ್ರು ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಸೋತೋದ್ರು ರಾಮ್ಲೂರು ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಗೆದ್ರು ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಗೆದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೆದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಸಂದರ್ಭ ಬಂದಂತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೆದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಸತ್ಯ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ.
Well, Shriramulu is a senior leader of the BJP. At one point used to be a deputy chief minister as well. Let me ask Harish Upadhyay this. How is this being viewed by both the government and the party? Is there some political churning to this, or is this being seen as a one-off statement that he made, some kind of a boast, if you will, at a public rally?
Well, there are two aspects to it. This is being looked at in two ways. One, after Siddaramaiah's birthday bash, perhaps this is being seen as some sort of a damage control by Shriramulu, because remember, there is humongous support for Siddaramaiah from the backward classes, ST, and minority, and Shriramulu comes from the Valmiki community, and he understands for him to grow politically, he will need the community to back him. And over the last 3 years, Siddaramaiah and Shriramulu have been in a verbal battle, and somewhere Shriramulu is seen as an opponent and someone who criticizes Siddaramaiah continuously, and probably it could be damage control. The second is, in the run-up to the 2018 election, the BJP had promised Shriramulu to be made as the deputy chief minister if the party comes to power. Once they formed the government in 2019, that hasn't been done. It was others who became deputy chief minister, and Shriramulu was miffed with that. He was miffed with the kind of portfolio given to him. So it could be posturing by Shriramulu saying that, well, I could look at some sort of a tacit understanding and even coming on the same platform with Siddaramaiah by saying that I wish Siddaramaiah becomes the chief minister. The third crucial aspect here is that he is in a way admitting to a tacit understanding that they had in Badami constituency, which eventually led for the victory of Mr. Siddaramaiah. He says, well, we've contested in 2 seats, both of us, we've won in one each, and you need to think how we won and what made us win in these constituencies. And the BJP has been continuously criticizing Siddaramaiah, constantly talking about his defeat in one constituency and winning in Badami. And Badami is where Shriramulu was contesting against Siddaramaiah, and Siddaramaiah won from a very wafer-thin majority there. So clearly question marks on whether there was a tacit understanding between these two leaders.
All right, we'll leave it at that, Harish. Let me go back to our political spokespersons. Mohan Vishwa, you want to respond both on the Madhuswamy audio that has come out and, of course, now this boast by Mr. Shriramulu at a public function that happened over the weekend?
See, Zakar, regarding Madhuswamy, that's what I just heard from your news. There's some video or something and where he's resigning. Okay. So the party and the government, will have its own set of meeting and they might decide on it. I don't want to comment anything as of now on that. But as far as Shriramulu's speech is concerned, even I also heard what he said. The outside politics, he clearly says that, politically we fight, but beyond politics, we both work for a backward leadership. That's what he meant. That's all, nothing else. I don't think so. That should be taken very seriously.
Okay. Bhavya,
telling in an open function.
Bhavya, should it not be taken seriously? Because you have bitter sworn enemies saying that there is some kind of secret deal that happened in the 2018 elections. Everybody knows Mrs. Siddaramaiah at that time had contested from both seats. He lost one, he won one. And that too by the skin of his teeth, many would say. Was there some kind of secret understanding, or is this some kind of a boast?
First of all, I would like to respond to what the audio leak from Madhuswamy. And I just think he's being honest about the most inefficient cabinet Karnataka has ever seen. And as you see, they're actually only managing until the next 7-8 months. Since BJP took over the government, not one development project has come up.
So, this
But
is
ma'am,
the
there
most
seems to be
inefficient
infighting in
cabinet.
your party also. It's not like
That comes
infighting
to the
is
next
constricted
point.
only to the BJP. There's infighting in your party also. More, in fact, much more heavy duty infighting.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. What?
No, I said there is infighting in your party also between the top two. It's not just.
I'm talking about the infighting. I'm talking about the cabinet, the most inefficient cabinet. Madhuswamy is just being honest and accepting that we are just pushing through, for the next 7-8 months to finish this term because it's the most inefficient cabinet.
But
and they have
B.S.
never
Arun,
come
where
up-
is
they have
this
not come up with
speculation
even one
coming from?
development
Because
project.
just 3 days ago, I think on Friday, Mr. Arun Singh, who is the in charge of Karnataka, the BJP in charge of Karnataka, very clearly and flatly said that we will fight the elections under Bommai's leadership. And in fact, I believe he's been saying this for a while now. It's not just yet, on Friday. B.S. Arun. B.S. Arun, please, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Zaka, more than the Congress leaders, it's the BJP leaders who are saying this. One Suresh Gowda, a former legislator, he made this comment recently, I think as early as last week. And before that, another MLA, from the dissident camp, Basanagowda Patil Yatnan, also a former union minister, he made a comment that so High Command is in search of a new chief minister. So it's coming from the BJP camp itself. Of course, the chief minister has refuted these allegations or the suggestions made by his own partymen and blamed the Congress for all this. So it's if you're asking me where it's coming from, it's from the BJP camp itself.
Okay, I'll give the final word to R. Rajagopalan. Whether it's Praveen Nattaru's mother, whether it's what happened to Prem Singh in Shivamogga, there is a feeling amongst large sections of extended Hindu outfits, whether it's BJYM, other outfits of the Sangh Parivar in Karnataka, that the state government there is not able to stop these incidents. There's a certain sense of helplessness.
The state government reacts, but the action comes from the provocation. Provocation is by the Congress side. Now, from my understanding of Karnataka politics, I am closely watching it, Karnataka politics, Jaka. I just got an SMS after you broke the story that D.K. Shivkumar released this tape a short while ago. D.K. Shivkumar is doing politics against Siddaramaiah. So therefore, Karnataka politics is very, interlinked. It's like a web. Till elections are announced, till election dates are announced, till candidates are selected, things are going to be very interesting. Zaka, Rajagopalan will be talking it out for another 6 months. But the Congress is in a complete disarray. Even that can be visible and understandable. When you ask two questions, the Congress spokesperson is tight-lipped on that, but she is saying something else with the cabinet. But Congress is totally divided into 3 in Karnataka, not 2.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll see. It's going to be a fascinating election, and you're going to see a lot more stories, such leaked audio clips, videos, boasts, etc., coming out in the run-up to that election. And we'll see. We'll keep a tab on this hotly contested and fiercely contested Karnataka election. That's a wrap. In a moment, Ridhima will be joining you with the biggest exclusive.